I can pretty much say with certainty that fragrance releases this year have been pretty mediocre. We've had a couple stunners, but other than that, most of them have been pretty unmemorable. You know, when I think about a lot of these releases that we've had, I almost forget about them. Like, I really have to rack my brain and be like, wait a minute, did that come out this year? Or, you know, even I forgot about some of these just because they haven't been all that great, right? None of them have really stuck in my mind all that much, except for a few of them. Like I said, there was a couple stunners, but most of them were pretty mediocre. Obviously, given the circumstances that we've had this year, I understand why, so I'm not, you know, hating on the brands per se and, you know, giving them too hard of a time. I'm just saying the releases haven't been that great, nothing really noteworthy here. Did a video on, I think it was top 5 or top 7 of my favorite releases, and there's only 5 or 7 of them. I can't remember off the top of my head because, well, that's really about all the ones that I really liked. But there was one that I missed, one that I just recently picked up and have fallen in love with. This is the new Guerlain L'Homme IDL Extreme. This is a fragrance I've known about for a while, but I never really got around to picking it up. I forgot about it, and after doing that video, you know, a couple weeks later, I got this one in. I've been loving it. So today I'm going to review this fragrance. I'm going to tell you how it smells, how it performs, when you can wear it, and ultimately if I think this one is worth picking up. And I'll just go ahead and tell you straight up, this is my favorite out of the whole line. I like it more than the original, I like it more than the EDP, I like it more than the Le Intense version, and really I like it more than the Cologne version, which is unfortunately discontinued. So let's not waste too much time here. Let's go and jump right into how this fragrance smells. When you first spray this one on, which you'll get right in the opening, is of course that signature almond note that is famous in these fragrances. They utilize that note and they do a great job at it. But what you'll notice is a bit different is this nice juicy plum top note. That giving it a really nice, fresh, fruity counterbalance. There's a little bit of plum, a little bit of a bergamot pop, although not a too sour or crazy sharp bergamot. Primarily it's the plum and the almond mixing together. You get a little bit of a pink pepper spiciness, but really not too crazy spicy. For me, it's primarily a creamy almond and a nice fruity plum. As you follow this into the mid, a little bit of heliotrope starts to come in. That's kind of a floral note. Pretty popular in fragrances, although it's not one of my favorite notes. I think it's done well here. There's a fragrance, I think it's the Gucci Guilty Cologne utilizes heliotrope, and I'm not the biggest fan of that fragrance. But this one utilizes it well. Bit of heliotrope, a little bit of a cinnamon kick that kind of followed that pink pepper in the opening, but it gives it a little bit of a kind of almost semi-sweetness in the mid, and then finally working into the dry down. All of this kind of falls on a nice tobacco leather base, a bit of a woody patchouli and cedar wood in the base as well. Not really primary notes. Still for me is that almond and plum, even in the dry down. But overall is honestly a really nice, pleasant smelling composition and really differentiates itself quite a bit from the other fragrances. For the EDP and even, you know, some of the Le Intense, sometimes it can be just slightly off-putting for me, and I'm not totally sure why. I think it's just almond overload to an extent, almost too creamy, and always it doesn't necessarily work the best with my skin, but I find this one does fantastic on my skin. Nice warm creamy scent, that nice fruity plum in the opening. This stuff is to die for. It is super sexy and it smells fantastic. Talking about when you can wear this one, is definitely a higher end smelling fragrance like the other fragrances from this line. They are kind of a higher end, more dressed up smelling scent. Of course, being a Guerlain, you're getting something that is really, really high quality. Even though these aren't that expensive at discounters, it's very high quality, especially for what you're paying for here. From the bottle itself, nice atomizer, to the actual fragrance itself. I mean, very well blended, very well done, and again, very, very unique. While a lot of the other fragrances that have been released this year have been kind of forgettable and just haven't been all that crazy good, this one here will stick with you. Like I said, when I first tried this one, I kept going back to it and I kept wearing it, even though I've been testing some other stuff as well. This one has had my attention the most. Let's go and talk about the performance here. Longevity on my skin, about 8-9 hours, and projection about moderate. It's nothing too crazy here in either category, but really for a fragrance like this is perfect. Not everything has to last forever, you know, not everything has to be a 12-14 hour plus fragrance. I mean, that's just a bit unnecessary in some circumstances with some fragrances. So the fact that it does have a nice moderate 8-9 hours and also having, you know, nice decent projection, one that will leave a nice trail, this fragrance has really good performance all around. So again, kind of comparing this to the other fragrances, it's just a bit more toned down on the ultra kind of powdery creaminess that you get from the almond notes and the other fragrances. It doesn't really smell all that much like the Lay Intense version because that one's very smoky. It has like, I think, a red pepper and like a straight up smoke note or something like that, or a chili pepper or some spicy type of pepper. So that fragrance is spicy overload. It's got a really strong kick. Again, all this one really has for spice is some cinnamon and some red pepper, which both of them are pretty subdued. And again, for me, the main players here from when you first apply it to your skin to the dry down is that plum almond mixture, which I think is fantastic. Plum is not used all that much in fragrances. And really, almond isn't used a crazy amount either, at least not in the forefront. So bringing these two notes together and putting them at the forefront of this fragrance creates something really unique and really interesting. And like I said, for me personally, this is going to be my favorite of the line out of all of them. All of the ones that I own, all of the ones that I've tried, which I believe is basically all of them at this point. This one takes the cake for me. I mean, I still really like the cologne version, even though that one is much more simple, more of a fresh type of scent. It is discontinued, which is a big bummer. And also L'Homme Ideal Cool is one I haven't tried, but we're kind of not comparing them all that much here. This one's going to be quite a bit different than those. This one's still going to be the one that takes the cake for me. Just such a nice classy scent, creamy almond, nice plum. It's something that is quite a bit different than everything else out there on the market, especially in this price range. Compliment factor on this one's going to be pretty solid as well. Again, this is a different fragrance. This is something unique and something that not everyone has smelled before. Like, this type of thing is amazing. And again, it's going to be a polarizing one where some people may not be the biggest fan, but the people who do like this one, chances are going to love it. And you'll get some over-the-top type of compliments with this type of fragrance. And these that push the line usually do the best and really get you some amazing reactions. Again, this isn't going to be something that pulls them in like Dylan Blue or something like that, but it's still going to be a solid one. Again, we've touched on this here a couple times, but quality is fantastic. No complaints, no issues there. When you first apply it, it's smooth, it's creamy. There's a spicy kick a little bit, but it's not anything that's out of place. It's not anything that's fighting to the surface and smelling unnatural or like it shouldn't belong. Everything's blended together really well, working into the mid and dry down. It's very smooth, very warm, and just overall is very well blended and very well thought out. Nothing smells like it doesn't belong or that it's out of place here with this one. Great quality all around, from the ingredients used to just the blend of it. So to go ahead and start to wrap this one up, my final thoughts on L'Homme Ideal Extreme. Amazing, amazing fragrance. Again, like I said, this one impressed me. Part of the reason why I put it off so much is because, like I said, some of the others, like the EDP and even the Lay Intense version, doesn't always do the best on my skin in terms of me enjoying it. But this one blew me away, and I'm so glad that I tried this one. So if you're in the same boat where maybe you're not the biggest fan of the original or the EDP or the Lay Intense, give this one a shot. I mean, you seriously might be impressed, and this may be kind of that missing puzzle piece that you need, dialing back some of that ultra creaminess and kind of slightly off-putting type of smell that I get from the EDP sometimes. Everything's fixed here. Great performance, great quality, great fragrance all around. This is a stunner of a release, and I'm super glad that I picked this one up. So guys, that's going to do it for me. That's my thoughts on L'Homme Ideal Extreme by Guerlain. Amazing, amazing flanker. They've been putting out a lot of flankers here, with the cool version and then now this one. And it's probably not going to be stopping anywhere, but this one is a really well done, and again, one of my favorites. If you guys have tried this one, let me know what you think down below, and thanks so much for watching, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.